Former Beatle George Harrison is recovering after being stabbed by an intruder early Thursday morning in his home near London. Reports state that Harrison was stabbed in the chest and his wife Olivia was hit on the head. Harrison's wounds did not require surgery. Olivia Harrison was treated but not admitted to the hospital. Harrison's spokesman says the couple were able to subdue the intruder until police arrived. The attacker, believed to be a 33-year-old Liverpool man, is in police custody.
Obviously, as you'd expect, they're deeply traumatized. But as I said, from having just spoken to them earlier, a few moments ago, they are recovering and now feel much better.
Paul McCartney says he's shocked and thank God they're all right. John Lennon was shot to death outside his New York apartment nearly 20 years ago. For more on this story and other music news, log on to vh1.com.
Harrison and his wife fought off the intruder at his heavily guarded home in Henley-on-Thames, that's west of London. And he is now in considerable pain, say doctors, but so far he does not need any surgery. Police have one suspect in custody, 33-year-old Mike Abraham, a resident of Liverpool, England. He has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Police are still investigating whether this was a robbery gone wrong, but Harrison has now issued a statement through the hospital saying the intruder was certainly not intent on burglary. That is a quote from former Beatle George Harrison. In other news, more bad publicity. We understand that the stab wound is not life-threatening, though he has been transferred to another hospital where a chest surgeon is standing by just in case. 33-year-old Mike Abraham has been arrested, and Harrison has said through the hospital this was not a burglary. So we'll have a live report from England coming up next. Stay with us.
News, he's stabbed by an intruder who broke into his home overnight. Good morning, everybody. In about 5 seconds, it'll be exactly 8 a.m. It's Thursday, December 30th. Fox 10 Arizona Morning is on the air. I'm Rick D'Amico. Another shocker. When I first heard it on the radio, I thought, how could something like that happen? I know he has security and a compound out there in central London.
You know, it is interesting. They have those real strict gun laws over there in England, so you don't hear so much about the gun crimes as you do the knife crimes over there. 40 hours to go. The clock is ticking. Crews worked all night last night
Standing by just in case. We'll have the latest on his condition.
Of course, everyone is hoping for the best but preparing for the worst when the clock strikes midnight.
Hospital in stable condition after an intruder broke into his home early this morning and stabbed him in the chest. Harrison's wife suffered minor injuries but was not hospitalized. The attack happened at their heavily guarded home outside of London. George Harrison's wounds are not life-threatening. The Harrisons were able to subdue the intruder, who is now in police custody. Federal emergency officials are working around the
London, where George Harrison and his wife Olivia were sleeping. The intruder did break in. There was a struggle at that point where the intruder did stab George Harrison at least once in the chest. George Harrison is resting in a hospital at this point. The officials are saying that he is in stable condition, not life-threatening, and that he is resting comfortably. His wife, Olivia, was injured. She suffered a head injury but was not hospitalized, and she has been sitting at Harrison's bedside in the last few hours. The intruder was also injured in the head and has since been released from the hospital, is in police custody, and he will be charged. Officials say he will be charged later today with attempted murder. At this point, officials are trying to determine what the motive was. It is not very clear, although the intruder was from Liverpool, the hometown of Harrison. So officials will be telling us later today what will happen to the intruder at this point. Chris Burns reporting from CNN in London.
Okay, Chris, thanks. Well, a Flagstaff lawmaker who
the police say the man is from Liverpool, the Beatles' hometown. He's been arrested on charges of attempted murder. How he got into the house, which has a sophisticated security system and guard dog warnings, is a mystery. The attack, of course, brings to mind the murder of John Lennon 19 years ago in New York. The outcome this time, while frightening, is happier. Julie?
You got that right. Thanks, Mark. Mark Phillips in London. Tomorrow night, revelers in New York City count.
The Harrisons reportedly subdued the 33-year-old man from Liverpool until police could arrive. Police are trying to figure out how the intruder got into the estate, which has tight security and a wall. Well, people across the country are buying up water and generators as the new millennium approaches. Workers from grocery
superficial head wounds. Let's go for the rest of the news to Antonio Mora in New York.
Thank you, Charlie, and good morning, everyone. One of the passengers from the
was attacked in his home overnight with by an intruder who had a knife with him. This intruder broke into the mansion, and there, in fact, is George Harrison's mansion, just west of London. He was stabbed in the chest. His wife, Olivia, was hit on the head. Thankfully, their wounds are not considered very serious.
No, it didn't require surgery, just a conventional chest drain to remove air from the lung cavity.
The Harrisons struggled with the intruder, and in fact, George actually held him until the police arrived. He's been described, the suspect, as the 33-year-old man from Liverpool. Still unclear whether Harrison knew his attacker. We understand he's in stable condition in the hospital right now, and he's already released a statement saying he wants fans around the world to know he's doing okay. In the Afghanistan hijacking case,
good condition. Police have arrested 33-year-old Mike Abraham on suspicion of attempted murder. We'll continue to follow this top story throughout the day. Welcome back to Morning Line, but first, at a secret nuclear command.
Still don't know. Is this a burglary gone bad, or is this someone who is intent on doing harm to a second Beatle?
This is the price of fame, that if you are among the most famous people in the entire world, lunatics get very excited now and again. Mark Chapman murdered John Lennon. It's a millennium. People are overexcited. Let's hope it wasn't. I hope it was just an ordinary burglar that went badly wrong, but you can never be too sure. Last week I went to the Cavern to see Paul McCartney. There's massive security because of this eventuality. You just never know, and they never know.
Have you talked to George Harrison recently?
No, not for a long time.
For a long time?
No.
Does he avoid that kind of thing? Just avoid?
I think they all avoid. I mean, as far as you can, they all avoid being in the public eye because they had a surfeit of it. You know, they had like years and years and years of on TV all the time, and they just like to live their own lives. I mean, which is very understandable because as long as they live. I mean, George Harrison was 26 when the Beatles broke up. He was a boy, but all his life since then, he's now 56, is he?
Yes, 56, exactly.
Ever since then, he's had 30 years of being famous for what he did before, which is a kind of odd thing. It's like a footballer, but even bigger.
Very strange, yes. When you have the climactic events of your life at such a young age, very difficult to adjust to that in later years. Well, hopefully, his condition to improve. As we say, all descriptions, these are not life-threatening injuries, but there were multiple stab wounds. And the first words were that he'd be released from the hospital after a couple of days. We don't know what this new word about the minor collapse of the lung may mean. We'll be back. Stay with us.